In this episode, we're going to look at installing the passenger sill. Bit of a side note, I filled the car up the other day. It's the first time I've actually parked it backwards on here, so it's pointing down a bit. And I've got a petrol leak. It's been like that for a couple of days, so it's been dribbling away on there. I hadn't realised. I have been onto a website forum which has a lot of Triumph experience, and they have said they don't think these gaps look too far out. So you can't adjust the front gap, and they talked about there's been a quarter, I can't remember, a quarter inch down to 3/8. Mine's a bit more than a quarter up here, down to 3/8, so it's a bit bigger here. And at the back here they said this can be adjusted by moving the plate, so the striker plate. So I guess we're gonna run with it. That's good news. So if we take a look now down here, okay, we can see where we're running to. So that to me looks okay here, but too far down here. Okay, so okay here. Might actually want to take a little bit more off, thinking about it. I've got about that much. Okay, whereas here I've got even less. I've got half that, so I think I need to skim a little bit more, probably get it all up to about this height, all the way along. So that's what I'm going to work on now. I had intended to do the door in this episode, and I've been grinding this down to get the gap. What I was doing is I was then using this, which is a 1/4 inch, to try to get a quarter. I decided I'd rather have it a little bit short, a bit too much gap, than not be able to close the door because I've made it too big. So I was doing this, and then I realised that actually I could easily move this, and so I didn't know where it should be. And of course this is moving because I've only got such a tiny bit. So in order to do this bit properly, I think I need to now put the sill in. So change of plan for this episode is we're not going to do the door skin or finish off the bits that need doing on the frame still to make sure it's waterproof. We're going to do the sill. This is my first attempt to fit it, and actually I'm quite pleased. It doesn't look too bad at all. So it lines up here. We do have a gap here on this sill, so I don't know what was wrong with this arch and where I got it wrong, because I got a gap on both ends, but so be it. We'll use filler in here. I've still got old bits of metal on here I'm going to have to look at, because I think they're part of the inner sill or the inner strengthener, and so how I do that I need to take a look at. On this end it will be cutting out a bit and then welding it in place along the seam here. Spot welds along the bottom, which doesn't look too bad. And then let's have a look in here and see what it looks like. Okay, so in here we've got a little bit. Right, let's bring you over. I'm going to take you off the stand. Okay, I've taken you off the stand. So we seem to have a bit of a gap here, which isn't perfect, but okay. I've forgotten that I need to fix this, so I'll do that first. And then along here, I guess I'm tempted to cut out along here and weld in there. And that leaves me with a gap over here where I'm going to have to fix these where I haven't done a lip far enough. So that's interesting. So that's because this went vertically or something. Or is it not squeezed in as much? Part of the problem is it's not squeezed in quite so much. And that will be partly because this is currently sitting outside the other one. So once that gets squeezed in, it would be in like this end. Okay. So, plan. First, let's fix this. So we've got that piece in place and fitted. I came down a bit further. I decided not to just... I just decided it would be easier when I'm welding onto it if it went down further. So, that's pretty good for me. It's very good for me, in fact. So I'm pleased with that. So I'm now looking at how to do the sill. And what I'm thinking is I'm just going to cut along the edge here. That's going to be a right bugger to hold in place and then weld the new one in. And I'm then got to have to get into that corner in order to grind it down, which of course I never do very well, but I think that's my only choice. I'm going to have a couple of areas where I've got a bit of a gap, namely just here. And so what I think I'm going to try to do is a few tacks, cut it off, weld in the sill with a few tacks, and then hopefully get some brass, something like this, up underneath and fill the holes before I try to really weld it to the bottom. So that's what I think I'm going to try to do. And if that doesn't work, I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking right now. The other thing I've got to look at is this section here. So you can see we've got this bit of metal that comes out. Okay. And I can't just cut that back because if we look at it from underneath, this here all goes up into this, well, I don't know, is it the runner or whatever? So it's actually welded in here, so I can't just cut this out. Now, whether or not that's actually part of what the sill originally did, isn't that it went in all the way, came out like that, I don't know. Okay. And so if, really it should be welded on here, I don't know. But I think what I'm going to do, again, thinking I'm going to grind it flat along the edge here so that it's flat. I'll clean it up underneath, and then I'll get it up as high as I can, and I'll just weld in across here and do a seam wall along here, which I'll then grind flat. And if I really want to have this edge in, then I'll do it with a bit of filler and just put a scour through it. I don't like the sound of that. Or if I could do well, I don't know, but I think that's what I'm going to do. But right now I'm going to go and have a little think about it and then come out and do that. Yeah. I'm spending a lot more time looking and thinking about how to do this than normally, which is probably not a bad thing, but it just means I'm going very slowly. Right, so I decided to cut this out. Okay, and it will just need squeezing together as I go along. Okay, and so that will all weld together when I've cleaned this off. And when I've cleaned this off, taken this out, clean this off, In this far corner there's still a little bit which I need to cut out in order to get it in a bit further, and I'll do that. But the bit I'm thinking and worrying about, and apologies for the awful welding that I have down here, but when I rebuilt underneath these flanges, I haven't quite made these long enough, and I'm worried that when I put spot welds in here I'm going to miss the metal, certainly possibly down that end. Okay, so I can squeeze it all together, that won't be a problem, but I'm just not sure I'm going to get the metal. So what I'm thinking about, I'm trying to get up. It's a tight squeeze when you're trying to get your head inside this side of the door. So what I'm thinking about is welding another flange, in effect, right over the top of what's there. Okay, so I've taken it off. What I'm thinking about is welding a flange over this, bring it down further, so I could spot weld it to this, so that I know it's strong. I could make it quite big, and then once I've got the sill in place, I can just cut off the extra. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. But I haven't decided yet. I'm just about ready to start, I think, looking at welding this. So it all needs squeezing in along here. It's been jammed out a little bit at this end, so I'm going to cut down here, so I've got a butt weld and I can then push this side in as well. Underneath, I've not quite decided still, so at this end I shouldn't have any problem with spot welds because I've got my sill on the other side. Down the other end though, from about here to here, I don't have metal on the other side. The flange isn't long enough, which is disappointing. Good lesson to have learnt. Comes back in play here. So I've not decided if I want to weld a strip of metal on there, or just use a seam weld on the other side. I deleted some video by mistake or lost it, so a bit of an update here. I decided to add a decent bit of flange in the whole way along, so I've got more flange, and then in the middle here, right around here, I didn't quite have it going straight, so I had to lower it again a bit, but I got that all now welded in place, so that means that it's a decent length. I know it's not quite the right way it should have been done, but that's spot welded on to the other flange. When I bring now and it's been primered as well, when I bring the sill up to it, which is there, and it's not going to be today, then I should be able to spot weld the whole way along the bottom there, which is much better than what I had. So that's what we're doing. So we're making progress, albeit deleting video. Right, so I'm getting ready to try welding this in. I've got it with some clamps at the bottom, You can see across the top here it's not too bad. It needs a little squeeze in one or two places just to pull it in, but I think that'll be okay. If I just put a bit of pressure on, I actually need to lower the front a little bit, but the bigger problem is I've got quite a bit of gap here. So the plan is I'm going to weld in a piece of metal like this, which just thickens out this enough, so if it's on here like that, then it goes up and, well, fits there. And I might have to do the same for this little bit here as well. But we'll start with this and we'll see how it looks. We just need to get that down about 2 millimeters, I guess, to just line it up properly. I'm going to preface this by saying I haven't tried the door on. I haven't tried fitting the front wing. But I'm fairly pleased with how we're doing. So we tack welded this in first, and then we went along welding it up very, very slowly. We did, before we connected the bottom, we got some light underneath, created a bit of a gap and poked through, and I've picked up virtually all the little holes, although just at the front here I didn't get this done very well, so I've got a bit of a gap here which I'm going to have to, well, I think I'll end up just filling with filler, to be honest. So I've ground this down and it looks reasonable. I think what I would like to do, rather than trying to get it any flatter, because I don't see light coming through, is just using, oh god, that must be heat still. I just want to use fiberglass filler, and hopefully that will make it waterproof. Now, I haven't finished this bit yet. I've just got a few tacks in there to try to hold it in place, but that needs finishing. And what I'm doing is I'm welding, as you can see, inside, and then I shall grind in the marker. Alright, down at the bottom we have now spot welded the whole way along, and that all looks firm, so that needs grinding down. So we're going to work through those bits in terms of, we're going to grind down the bottom, we're going to tack weld, well, we're going to finish welding in there, and then we're going to take a look at this piece from episodes and episodes ago and see if it will still fit in the back there. We're going to stop there. I am going to put paint on just to protect everything, but this is unchanged from last time. Along here I've got a lot more weld in there. There are still gaps, but I think now, and I might need to weld it down a bit more, grind it down a bit more, but we've got a bit of a dip in there, and I think with some my mind is completely gone. I don't know what's wrong with me. So with some filler, fiberglass filler, then we can fill any holes that are in there if we really stuff it in, and then just put a kind of a mark along there to mimic the seam. I am going to have to do something here where it just doesn't fit, so I'm going to have to create a piece to finish that off, but that's fine, just for another day. Underneath, we've ground it all down now. We've also ground out where it was uneven over there, so we've now got a nice, I think, flat seam the whole way along. It's all firm, and at the back we welded this piece in place. It needed trimming off a little bit. That's a pretty good fit. And I put a bit more weld in there just to keep it strong. This weld here didn't hold, So maybe I'll put some in there just to hold it. It's very hard to try to do a plug weld from this side, so I haven't tried to clear that down yet. And what I haven't done is I haven't welded along the inside here. Okay, what I was planning, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to distort this. So I was just going to put seam sealer in there and fill it up, unless someone tells me no, it really has to be welded for some reason. Okay, but we're going to end this episode here. I'm pretty pleased at the moment. We'll see if I'm still pleased when I try to fit a door or a front wing, but I think this is going to be able to be made to look decent. So yeah, and I'm actually quite pleased with how far back I managed to grind this in. So yeah, pretty pleased.